What is the best antifreeze or coolant for my Honda? Now, I wanted to go over this real quick because I feel like it's not talked about. And the reason I feel like it's not discussed is because there's so many different brands and companies that produce antifreeze and coolant. And they all generally do the same thing, they all work. So I don't think it's really something that's discussed because people aren't really too picky. But I wanted to point out the reason why I chose these two. On the left, we have the Honda OEM antifreeze. It's Type 2. I don't think Honda's offering any other different type at the moment. This is specifically designed for Honda and Acura vehicles. This goes for the guys that are beating up their cars on the weekend on the track, or the soccer mom that's driving an Odyssey daily. You can't go wrong with this. This is what the car calls for. I've had great results in all of my personal vehicles with this. Many miles put on this radiator fluid without any issue. This is pre-diluted. You don't add any water. The radiator fluid is rated for 60,000 miles or 5 years, whichever comes first. I'd probably cut that time in half just to check it and have a peace of mind. Make sure the coolant, the color hasn't changed. There's no leaks. Temperatures are still good in the car. So that is my go-to fluid. On the right, we have the AMSOIL passenger car and light truck antifreeze and coolant. This is a little more of an upper edge for when it comes to antifreeze. This isn't just for Hondas. This is for pretty much any passenger car or light truck on the street today. The reason why I chose this as a step up is because it has more protection for the aluminum radiators. So for the guys like myself that are running the aftermarket aluminum radiators with extra cores, that may be sitting during the week or running on the weekends on the track, and the fluid isn't, the coolant isn't moving around in there, this is going to help protect from corrosion. I've had an issue in the past where I had a great radiator manufactured by a good company with great reviews, and the radiator split due to corrosion, and it was from my own fault for going with a cheap radiator fluid. If I spent a couple extra bucks, I would have saved myself a few hundred extra bucks later on a radiator. So that's going to be my two go-to fluids. On the left, the Honda runs about 20 bucks from the dealer. We have it on our site, always available, 25 bucks shipped per gallon. On the right, we can't disclose AMSOIL pricing just due to their policy, but it is pretty much the same price as the Honda fluid. So you really can't go wrong with selecting the AMSOIL stuff. Lastly, real quick, I want to go over this Dominator Coolant Boost. So this does two cool things. One, it helps warm up the vehicle faster. So if you're on the track and you're running race gas and you don't want the car sitting there and idling because you got to get it up to operating temperature and oil pressure needs to be good for VTEC to engage and such. You don't want the car sitting there for 10 minutes warming up. So this will actually cut that time in half virtually. So instead of like a 10-minute wait, you might actually have a 5-minute warm-up time. And that will save you not only for fuel, and obviously race gas is pretty expensive depending on what you're running. Lastly, it also reduces the temperature of the coolant in the system, and that reduces up to 8 degrees. So if you're running a turbo car or a car that you're really beaten up and it runs extra hot, this is going to be your go-to boost. You just pour this straight into the radiator. You don't do anything special. It mixes right up with the 50/50 premix, and it does its job. On top of that, it also adds a little bit more protection for the aluminum corrosion. So if you are running an expensive aftermarket radiator and you're worried about it corroding over time, that is going to be your boost to help with that. With that being said, that's pretty much it. Hopefully that was short and sweet. Obviously, run what you guys have been running and what you think works. But this is just two more options out there and a little bit more insight of the products we sell. Appreciate it.